He's a cute little crappie. Good morning, guys. Welcome to Fishful Thinker. We're fly fishing for panfish, bass, and crappies today. We're a couple minutes into our day, and there's a beautiful little crappie first thing in the morning. Beautiful fish. Now we just got to find bigger ones than that on our little minnow fly, but we're going to be out in a little tiny boat, little tiny pond in western Nebraska, and we're trying to catch panfish and bass today. It should be fun. I'll fly tackle, maybe I'll try spinning rods as well. Stay tuned, get comfortable.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. Peterson Toyota and Toyota Trucks, moving forward. St. Croix Rod, best rods on earth. Berkeley, catch more fish. Abu Garcia, for life. Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. Evinrude, spend more time on the water. Lawrence, find, navigate, dominate.
Here we go. So we're gonna keep working on our depth range, guys, and see if we can come up with a bunch of these guys today. But I'll tell you what, catching crappies on little minnow baits like that, little tiny minnow streamer fly, and a little tiny crappie. And again, he's not quite what we're looking for, but that's all right because we're just getting rolling today. We're told there's crappies in here up to maybe 12-inch range, so we'll see what we can come up with. But you know, catching them on a little streamer fly is hard to beat, that's for sure. All right, so we've got some visible cover right here. And just like if we were throwing traditional tackle, we will be real careful about how we sneak up on this. It's so calm this morning, guys, that fish. There we go, right off the bat. First throw up on there with that little fly. And we've got a beautiful black crappie right here. Now I'm gonna try to stay up off my cover, and he choked that fly. That's exactly what we need. Now again, guys, I was watching the fly line, is all I was doing. And it just pulled away, just as though I was watching, you know, a jig. And a beautiful little black crappie right there. How nice is that thing? So we'll see if we can catch some more without spooking that little tree. But basically, long story short, there is a submerged stick up right there that's sticking just above the water. And that's where he just came from. And I just watched the end of the fly line and it pulled straight away. Let's see if that'll spook this time, just letting that fly settle. It's just a little minnow fly. So as we work along here, guys, all we're basically doing is targeting a depth range, trying to keep the fly in the range that we have seen the most fish. I mean, it's early yet, and we're just getting rolling, but our biggest crappie was deep for sure, but like I said, we want multiple species today. So we'd like to catch crappies, we'd like to catch bass, we'd like to catch bluegills, and so far we've only caught crappies and bluegills. But because we are looking for multi-species, we're gonna throw at anything that seems like a good piece of cover. And I do believe that with a small minnow fly, we could catch anything. I mean, realistically, anything that swims in here, from a trout to a bluegill to a crappie, they'll all bite a little minnow fly of some sort. And so we'll see about getting them to go here. And basically it's a tiny little fly, and it's because it's real calm this morning. There's one. I don't know what I got right here, but what did we get this time? Looks like we got a little bluegill. The bluegills fight about twice as hard as the crappies do. And catching panfish, I mean, that's a nice sized bluegill. Look at that thing. Come here, fish. That is a beautiful bluegill, no matter how you look at it. That's a pretty fish right there. I mean, look at that with a little streamer fly in his face. There's a good piece of cover right there. I'll come right by it with this fly. Got it. There we go. Another bluegill. It's funny, you just watch that line and the line just swims off. You know, these little guys just swim up and grab it. Now this one's not near as big as the last one. This is a little female, it looks like. Nowhere near as big as the last of the bluegills. But we should catch a whole bunch of those today. And that's the beauty of this kind of fishing, is you can do just that, you know. With the fly rod and the panfish, the whole shooting match really is just find out where there's panfish at, because it's very easy, I should say, not very difficult to get panfish to bite a fly of some sort. So really it's just a matter of where are they. And this type of show, I mean, we're here at Rock Creek State Recreation Area in Nebraska, but we could just easily be any one of a jillion other little ponds around and catching the same quality of fish.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors. Peterson Toyota and Toyota Trucks, moving forward. Lowrance, find, navigate, dominate.
We catch this time. You know, I think the funny part, looks like we got us a largemouth. So we're now up to 3 species in short order into our day here. And you know, the beauty of largemouth on the fly rod is that they, perfect quarry for a fly rod. I mean, look at this fish right here while we're catching crappies. That's a bonus fish. And you look at that little minnow fly, right? Perfect, right in the top of the snout. Fish is never gonna come off. Right there, look at that. Okay, right in there. And when Kelly Gallup designed this rod for St. Croix, he designed it to cast streamer flies specifically to targets, to the banks, hence the term bank robber. And that's why I chose it for out here. Again, because we are looking for bass as well as bluegills and stuff. I needed a fly rod with enough backbone, but that is still accurate. There's a big piece of wood cover right here. Let it disappear out of sight and see if there's a crappie down there. Come on, baby. And we've caught crappies lots of ways on this show, but dabbing them has been far and away our most effective. Now, one thing, we met the guy that manages this fishery, and he told us about pallets. Well, there's a pallet in the water right there. They were placed out here for cover and as fish attraction. I can see a pallet right there. And a lot of those fish you see, or you may hear or see swirling behind me out in open water, there's trout in here. And yes, we're in Nebraska. We're in the middle of nowhere in Nebraska, no less, but there are trout in this pond. And it's cold water pond, or cold by Nebraska standards, and there's trout in here. There's a big old, hang on, we'll catch one right here. Ready, guys? Open the loop, drop the fly in gently, and got, oh, I watched him eat it. How did I pull it away from him? I saw a bluegill or a crappie, one of the others, swim up there and eat that thing. Are you kidding me? Got him. All right. Now I was patient there, and what I get this time? Looks like we got us another largemouth. And look at that, even a little largemouth like that puts a big old bend, and you start talking about a 6-weight fly rod. And that's actually not a bad little bass. And he swallowed that fly. Holy smokes, come here, fish. We're gonna have to do some surgery on you. Oh no, we won't, it's right there, piece of cake. Holy smokes, how cool is that? Just throw it up next to the cover right there and let it settle. I mean, that is a fun fish on the little fly rod, guys. I am not lying. That is a fun fish on the fly rod. Now, again, we've been fishing just a short period of time. We've got 3 species of fish. How can you complain about that? We didn't even get up early. I ain't gonna lie to you. Our camera guy and me, we slept in. We didn't even get up that early because I wanted to be able to see the targets that we were gonna cast to. And I knew if we were here too early, we wouldn't have any sun on the water at all and we wouldn't be able to see them. And it was more important being able to see the targets than try to take advantage of an early bite, you know? And so that was, it wasn't me not wanting to get up early, I swear. There's a good sized bass right there. Look at that. That's a decent one. He puts a pretty good bow. I mean, that's a 6-weight, guys. That's why we love us some largemouth, because that's a 6-weight. It's on a 2X tippet, so I've got 8, basically I think, or maybe it's 3X tippet. It's closer to 8-pound test. And that's a good sized bass. And he swallowed that gold minnow. That's awesome, dude. That is awesome. That is fun right there. I don't care how you look at it. That is fun stuff. Come here, fish. Oh, he'll be no worse for the wear. Bait's right there. Now, in case anyone's curious, there you go. That's a beautiful fish on the fly rod right there. I mean, look at that big old mouth, big old belly, big fat belly, yet he eats that tiny little minnow. There you go, buddy. See if he'll jump. Nope. Fly just disappeared out of sight right here. As soon as you can see the bottom tapers out. As soon as the fly disappeared completely out of sight, I gave it one strip and it just pulled tight immediately. So that, we've definitely got a good trick figured out at this point, and now we just got to go through here and catch a bunch of them. Got that one. There we go. Now, that's why you put the minnow on, guys, because now I've got a nice largemouth, and that's a nice one, actually. It's a good sized largemouth. And he ate my little minnow right in the tip of the snout. Look at that. That's a mean and dirty trick, isn't it, fish? You see? That's a mean and dirty trick. Look at that, nice little chunky fish, post spawn. You can see they're all beat up. All the largemouth in here are post spawn. The bluegills are just getting going. And here it is. That's a little 1-inch minnow right there. It's already chewed up, and I haven't had it on there 3 minutes. I've got a split shot there ahead of it. And I just started throwing it around, and I'm throwing it just where it disappears out of sight. So the water right here is real shallow. Right out there, it's just got a little bit of depth to it. And as soon as it disappears out of sight, then I'll give it a little pull. But I mean, that's simple as it gets right there. It doesn't get any easier than that. Got it. That's a little bass though. Yeah, that was a bass. Then you have to unhook him. Cute little guy. Here he comes. Oh, I don't know about you guys, but this is a fun way to spend a morning. And we're only gonna be out here for a grand total of maybe 2 hours this morning. It's kind of a little bonus morning deal. And look at, there's my little crappie jig right there on the end of a fly rod. How pretty is that? There you go, buddy. Let's kiss that one. There you go. See ya.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. St. Croix Rod, best rods on earth. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
I feel like that's a mean and dirty trick right there, is putting a fly down in front of bluegills. But man, you talk about making yourself giggle a lot. Take your fly rod. Oh, look at that bass trying to get him. Did you see that? That bass just came up and tried to get that bluegill. Here, we'll spare you. Dude, that's a honking nice bluegill right there. That's a good sized bluegill. I mean, that's a full, legitimate hand-sized, beautiful bluegill right there. And he is hooked right in the top of the snout. No worse for the wear. How pretty is that? Look, he's got a bump on his head. I wonder what that is. See that? He's got a little horn there on the top of his head. How pretty is that? There's your bank robber, Kelly Gallup. Thanks a lot for producing that. For catching bluegills with. So, problem solving. We talk about it all the time on Fishful Thinker. That's problem solving right there. Okay, I don't have a fly that's quite small enough to get these bluegills to go, or they're all biting it by the tail, blah, blah, blah. Improvise. Okay, we're gonna get up towards this shady spot, guys. We now know how to catch them. We know how to do it, and this is not rocket science. So what we're gonna do is slide into this little shady corner right here and see if we can get one to come out and get this thing. The beauty of it is it's a little darker water over here, and I think if we're ever gonna see any bigger bluegills, even than we've seen, we've already seen some quality ones. I'm casting real gentle because this is, look at that. That line just took off, dude. Just absolutely took off. When you see your fly line just take off like that, that's a good sign. I mean, he just split with it. That is another beautiful bluegill. Look at this thing. Are you kidding me? That is another beautiful bluegill. That's a fat female right there, if there ever was one. Look at that thing. Those are good sized bluegills, guys. If you guys want to come to Rock Creek State Recreation Area here in Nebraska and eat some bluegills, this would be a good spot to do it. Slowly, and got him. Got him. There we go. Got him. That's a pretty one there. Oh, are you kidding me? Look at that. Now we're in an 11.5-foot boat and that little bluegill's pulling us. Got him. Well, I don't know how many more of these guys we can show you guys. I think you get the point. If you just barely strip that fly along, the beauty of catching bluegills is just that, the simplicity. Now this is another gorgeous fish right here. We're catching both males and females. You can tell mostly by their coloring. Another beautiful one right there. Are you kidding? We should be putting some of these on the camp chef tonight. I'll tell you what, we're on a multi-day road trip, but that is good eating fish right there, guys. Holy smokes, look at that thing. And look at that beautiful sunfish. How pretty is that thing, guys? Right? That's a pretty fish, and he just came up and choked this minnow fly right there really good, and that's a good sized bluegill. How nice is that thing? I mean, look at that colors on that fish. You know, that's how you learn, oh, sorry buddy. That's how you learn, you know, a lot of stuff. You learn how to figure out lakes in a hurry. Well, we put the truck's right there. We put the boat in the water and came straight over here just because it's the shady bank. The sun's coming up over here. And just fundamental stuff, you know. This is the darkest water we could find, the most amount of shade that we could find anywhere. You see all these other banks have got much more light on them. And that's all it took to get all these fish all of a sudden to want to play with us is a little bit of color and the right size bait. And when you get 3 or 4 of them in a row that don't commit to your fly, they come up and they bite it, but they're only getting a hold of the back tail of it, not the whole fly. You make one quick adjustment, put it in darker water, get a chance for fish to commit to the bait, and bam, it is game on. Now right up around that rock, or that, the only thing is with this minnow, you gotta throw it real gentle. You can't be slapping this thing around. Now just watch the end of the fly line. Got him. Oh, I should have had him. Okay, we'll see that. Watch the end of the fly line. That's all I'm watching. Oh man, I'll tell you what, dipping trees. We were dipping trees one time with Chris Johnson down at Navajo. Oh, there was one. And Navajo Reservoir in southern Colorado, northern New Mexico, and he caught a big old giant smallmouth. We caught several smallies, but he caught a giant one while we were doing this. And it all comes down to the fact that you have such good depth control when you're dipping like this. You know, that's the whole shooting match, and that's what Charlie Bunting taught us, is it's not so much about anything other than the fact that you have perfect control of your depth all the time. It's like ice fishing meets traditional fishing. And you know, that's a really handy, got that one. There we go, there's a good sized crappie. There's a good sized one. Oh, maybe not as big as he looked. That's a pretty white one though, look at that one. And he swallowed that thing. Come here, fish. Look at that white crappie. Got him. There we go. Thanks, Charlie Bunting. Got him. There we go. Here he comes. Got that one. That's good fun. Another beautiful black crappie in here. That's a nice crappie, guys. I mean, yeah, they get a lot bigger than that, obviously, but where we are in a little pond, in a little boat, catching an artificial bait on a fly rod, no less. And there it is. It started life as a 2.5-inch gulp minnow and cut it down. It's probably 1.5 inches long now. Dabbled it straight down in there and just all about depth control, you know? And the reason I thank Charlie Bunting, who was the national crappie fishing champion we fished with, I held it right above the fish and then dropped it right in his face and he choked it right away. What a beautiful catch. Oh, that is fun. Come here, buddy. Come on over here, little crappie buddy. Come on over here, little crappie buddy. Easy there, I had ya, Come on now. Oh, some of them are bigger than others, but they all love the gulp minnow. See ya. Such a pretty little fish. Crappies remind me of cartoon fish for some reason. I don't know why I've always said that, but they remind me of cartoon fish. So that's pretty good stuff, guys. I don't know how we're gonna have any more fun than that. I mean, we've caught a ton of fish today. We've caught crappies, we've caught bluegills, we've caught tons of largemouth bass as well. And we only been out here less than 2 full hours, or right at 2 full hours. The sun burned off now. Time for us to go get a cheeseburger, put this thing back in the tundra and go somewhere else in Nebraska and see what we can catch this afternoon. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that show. The fly rod, the little boat, the little pond here at Rock Creek State Recreation Area. These guys have done a fantastic job building a really cool spot here in Southwest Nebraska to fish. If you're interested in learning more about Fishful Thinker, check us out on Facebook at Fishful Thinker or of course fishfulthinker.com. Most importantly, we hope you'll tune in and we'll see you next week. Watch that line tip. Got him. Oh, come on. I let that minnow go all the way down. Oh, he came off. Oh, I got him. Okay. Came up and oh, he came off. That was a decent sized largemouth too. Ah, no, I didn't. I got the schmut. Oh, got him. Come on now. Oh, God. All right, cut for a second. All right, cut. Time out. Cut.